Here is what's coming up in today's Frontline compilation. A ground drone hums toward a basement hideout. Out of nowhere, two scruffy strays give chase, barking and wagging as if it's their new favorite toy. Can the little drone reach the doorway before its wagging buddies give up the chase? A Russian APC is struck by a kamikaze drone and burns on the move as the squad bails into open ground under a circling FPV. Where do they run next? Recon drone video shows Ukraine's 77th Air Assault Brigade tracking Russians on unarmored motorcycles as they ride into view. What stops the lead bike? Footage from Ukraine's 110th Mechanized shows an FPV closing on a Russian transport with at least 10 riders. A second FPV is sent to assess damage and hunt any survivors. This is real footage, no effects, just raw moments from the battlefield. Subscribe to stay updated on every Frontline report and stick around to see it all unfold. Let's get into it. Along the Lyman front, Ukrainian drone operators spot a Russian logistics team hauling a main battle tank on a flatbed. FPV strikes hit the convoy, and the tank, the trailer, and supporting vehicles catch fire in place. 53rd Mechanized Brigade. Flames spread through the load and gear until nothing is moving. The tank never even got a chance to fight before it was destroyed. In Zaporizhzhia, Ukrainian footage records an armored assault being broken up by artillery and drones. Several vehicles are disabled early, forcing Russian troops to dismount short of their objective. Surviving crews turn away and retreat. The attack loses momentum and stalls in open ground. Tracks and trucks back out as scattered infantry try to find cover. The lens follows the last vehicle turning. In southern Zaporizhzhia, conventional artillery strikes hit Russian units in a series of engagements. Targets include mortar teams, artillery pieces, and multiple vehicles. Thermal signatures flare and fade as crews abandon sites. The Ukrainian 44th Artillery Brigade is credited in the cut. The footage shows repeated strikes on vehicles and positions, with some vehicles on fire and thick black smoke rising. Vehicles attempt to move between trees and hedges, but are caught in the open. On the Pokrovsk front, Russian vehicles drive into minefields and are torn apart by blasts. The sequence shows at least 8 separate detonations on different vehicles. Crews bail out or go still next to wrecks. Minefields are often laid in belts to slow and channel assaults into pre-sighted areas, and the pattern here matches that use. Dust, smoke, and secondary fires mark each strike along tracks and field roads. Most of the vehicles catch fire and the flames rise higher. From Kharkiv, Ukraine's Phoenix drone unit releases clips of strikes on Russian frontline positions. Targets in the compilation include a heavy tank, 2 self-propelled howitzers, logistics equipment and troops. FPV drones close in on vehicles that are static or moving slowly. Self-propelled howitzers provide mobile artillery for frontline fire support, so losing crews and vehicles reduces a unit's ability to answer with guns. Secondary explosions and fires appear at a few sites as hits land. Personnel scatter from trenches and revetments while smoke builds over positions. Drone teams from the K2 Battalion of Ukraine's 54th Mechanized Brigade circle a battlefield scattered with wrecked vehicles. The camera tracks movement near 2 disabled trucks. FPV drones dive in, striking at people still moving between the hulks and finishing off the vehicles. The sequence stays tight on each approach and impact, then pulls back to show the area going quiet. The trucks are thin-skinned and take fire quickly. The clip ends as both vehicles catch fire. Reconnaissance drone video from Ukrainian sources shows the 77th Air Assault Brigade stopping a Russian push. Russian riders on unarmored motorcycles move along a track, not aware they are being watched. Indirect fire lands ahead and behind them, while drones close in. The group keeps riding into a prepared kill box and begins to fall apart under hits. Bikes drop, and men are badly injured and fall near the motorcycles. The clip ends with the motorcycles still under fire. A compilation from the Ukrainian Security Service shows FPV drones attacking different Russian vehicles, including tanks and APCs. The strikes are described as defensive actions against assaults. Each segment shows a drone closing, the target filling the frame, and an impact. Some targets are static, others are moving slowly. The sequence rolls from hit to hit without narration. Ukrainian troops move through trenches with drones overhead. Two Russian soldiers run into a dugout under rifle fire and grenades. One throws a grenade back, but it does not clear the trench and explodes near the entrance. The exchange goes on around the dugout until a drone-dropped munition finds a gap in the roof and detonates inside. The camera holds on the position while dust and smoke rise from the opening. Footage from the area of Pryviln and Novosilka shows a failed Russian assault. A group of 41 motorcycles moves as a diversion, while a main force of 20 armored vehicles advances. Ukrainian defenders and drone operators break up both elements. Vehicles are hit and burn across the approach routes, and motorcycles crash or stop in place. The sequence shows repeated strikes and wreckage along the line of advance. Dozens of vehicles are destroyed, and heavy losses are reported in the ranks. The footage shows a Ukrainian FPV drone from the 25th Separate Airborne Brigade destroying a Russian-held dugout. The payload is an intense incendiary that turns the confined space into a furnace quickly. A Russian soldier emerges on fire, trying to put himself out with stop, drop, and roll. He remains conscious for a long stretch, kneels briefly, then tries to roll again. The clip shows signs he has inhaled flame and hot smoke. The scene is hard to watch. Footage from Ukraine's 110th Mechanized Brigade shows an FPV drone hitting a Russian transport crowded with infantry. At least 10 soldiers ride on top, with an unknown number of crew inside. After the blast, a second FPV goes in to assess damage and hunt survivors. The vehicle burns, and bodies lie around it. The camera holds on the wreck as flames spread. The follow-up drone scans the scene and drops altitude toward movement near the hull. The clip cuts with thick smoke over the road. A set of Ukrainian drone videos shows a Russian mechanized assault unit being broken apart by FPV strikes in Zaporizhzhia. The clips show repeated hits on vehicles across the approach, with columns forced to halt and scatter. Drones track targets from above and close in on stragglers. The assault does not reach its objective. The footage focuses on the strikes and the vehicles left disabled or burning along the route. Video from the Phoenix unit of Ukraine's 93rd Mechanized Brigade shows 4 successive waves of Russian armor stopped by drones. Each wave rolls forward and is met by FPV strikes. Vehicles halt, some burn, and the formation stalls. The clips focus on the approaches, the impacts, and the wrecks left along the route. Smoke builds over the advance as more hits land. Ukrainian sources say 9 armored vehicles were destroyed and 4 more were significantly damaged. Footage from the Ukrainian Birds of Magyar drone unit captures a strike on a Russian technical loaded with fuel and ammunition. After the hit, the vehicle erupts and turns into a streak of fire. The crew notices the drone and some jump clear just before impact. Burning debris trails along the track as the truck keeps moving. Flames run through the load and over the chassis. The camera stays on the moving fire until the vehicle slows and burns in place. Footage from the Ukrainian 31st Mechanized Brigade shows a large Russian assault near Privilin and Novosilka, west of Donetsk. The column includes about 20 armored vehicles and more than 40 motorcycles. The advance drives straight ahead without coordination or fire support. Drones and defenders hit vehicles and riders along the routes. The formation breaks apart under repeated strikes. Motorcycles crash or stop, and armored vehicles burn or halt short. The push does not maneuver. It keeps going into the same fire. This footage shows militarized Ukrainian police operating in Toretsk-Donetsk. A combined force from the police's Hideout and Kizhak brigades assaults Russian-held buildings. Charges are thrown through windows, and the team pulls back along the street. An observing drone watches from above as detonations follow, recorded on a thermal camera as bright flashes inside the structures. The team exits the area as smoke vents from windows and doors. The clip ends with the drone still tracking the buildings after the blasts. Footage shows a Russian armored personnel carrier struck by a Ukrainian kamikaze drone. The vehicle catches fire while moving, and the squad dismounts to avoid the flames. As they spread out in open ground, more FPV drones strike the fleeing personnel. Blasts land close, and figures drop and crawl. The burning APC sits on the road, while the drone camera circles above. The sequence follows the group as it tries to reach cover, but keeps taking hits. The clip holds on the area as smoke builds around the vehicle and the scattered troop. Footage shows a Russian fire team crossing a small river. A drone-dropped munition detonates directly in front of one soldier, likely blinding him and killing him within minutes. A second soldier suffers a severe leg injury and tries to apply a dressing while the water around him turns pink. A third body is visible next to a destroyed bridge from an earlier incident. The team is exposed in shallow water and on the near bank. This compilation features FPV drone attacks by the drone unit of the Guard's 144th Motorized Rifle Division. It opens with a strike on an outpost, and a soldier is visible inside. The segments show Russian drones striking Ukrainian targets, vehicle by vehicle. The clips do not show detailed coordination with maneuver or fires. Each segment centers on an approach and a hit. The footage underlines that drones are a core part of Russian operations as well. The sequence moves quickly from strike to strike. The Russian military launches a large assault south of Zaporizhzhia city, east of the Kakhovka reservoir. The force includes over 300 soldiers, around 40 armored vehicles, 3 tanks, and several UTVs. Ukrainian defenders meet the attack and stop it short. Vehicles are knocked out along roads and field lines, and troops do not reach their objectives. Reported results are 29 vehicles destroyed, about 140 enemy casualties, and all 3 tanks damaged. The footage follows burning hulls and scattered movement. A Russian mechanized assault is stopped by Ukraine's 43rd Brigade near Kupiansk. The defense uses indirect fire, FPV drones and drone-dropped munitions. Mortars and artillery, including DPICM cluster rounds, hit halted vehicles and dismounted troops. FPV drones force vehicles to a stop, then artillery engages them as infantry bail out. Stragglers are hunted with munitions dropped from above. The sequence shows vehicles disabled in place and men spreading into shallow cover. The Ukrainian 63rd Mechanized Brigade releases a highlight reel of FPV strikes in its sector. Almost all of the targets are dismounted Russian infantry. Each clip shows a drone closing, a detonation, and brief aftermath. The sequence moves from trench lines to tree lines and open ground, always focusing on small groups on foot. Vehicles appear rarely and only in the background. About 22 Russians are eliminated by drones. Recon footage captures a ground drone rumbling toward a basement suspected of hiding Russian troops. Before it gets there, 2 stray dogs sprint after it, barking and bounding, as if this deadly machine were nothing but a toy, a surreal touch of comedy in the middle of war. The drone presses on, slipping through the doorway and delivering its payload with precision. These ground drones are fast becoming the next evolution after FPVs, able to haul heavier charges and slip right up to doors and bunkers while crews remain at a safe distance. As for the dogs, both walked away just fine, rewarded with water, head pats, and a strange claim to fame in a battlefield story. Reconnaissance drone footage from the Ukrainian 425th Assault Regiment captures close-range combat near Pischene in the Donetsk region. Assaulting Russian troops push toward defending Ukrainians, and the distance closes to near hand-to-hand range. Small arms fire flashes from both sides. Positions shift by meters as fighters move between cover along the same line. At one point, the 2 sides are almost within reach of each other while they shoot. The clip cuts with both groups still engaging at very short range. POV footage from Ukrainian scouts captures a fast, close-range firefight that ends with a Russian prisoner of war. The camera stays tight on rifles, hands, and the short sprint between bits of cover. After the POW is secured and handed off, the recording continues. The same scout team keeps moving and runs into a second engagement with Russian forces. Short exchanges of fire and quick repositioning fill the rest of the clip. The location is given as the Pokrovsk region of Ukraine. That's today's raw footage. No filters, no fluff. Thanks for watching. Drop a comment with the clip that stood out, and subscribe if you want more Frontline reports. See you in the next upload.